Today, we're going to walk through a story, a parable of sorts. But this isn't a journey for fame or treasure. Nope, this is a much harder journey, inward. And it all kicks off with one single, huge choice. The choice to just walk away from the map everyone else is following and try to find your own way through the wilderness of the self.
And this, right here, is the question at the very heart of it all. It's the dilemma our character, who we'll call the lone wanderer, is facing. Just imagine it. You're standing at a crossroads, and every single sign seems to be pointing to a place you just don't believe in. So, what do? Where do you even go? This is where the story really begins.
And here it is, the refusal. It's not some big, loud rebellion. It's a quiet, internal turning away. The wanderer just looks at the whole game of life that society has laid out and decides, you know what? I'm not playing. The rules, the prizes, the whole setup, it just feels empty, absurd. And that's his first step into the wilderness.
So what exactly is he refusing? Well, the source material suggests our wanderer sees two main, culturally approved highways for life, two scripts that pretty much everyone is encouraged to follow. But to him, they both feel like traps. Both feel completely inauthentic.
This lays out those two paths perfectly. On one side, you've got the way of the sheep. Just conform, blend in, find safety in the herd. On the other side is the way of the peacock. Go all out for status, wealth, get everyone to admire you. The wanderer looks at both of these options and just sees nothing that feels real, nothing with any kind of cosmic specialness. So he rejects them. Both of them.
Okay, so what happens when you just throw away the map? The first thing is this profound sense of disorientation. The world, which runs on all these shared scripts, suddenly becomes impossible to navigate. And that feeling that your life has a special place in the universe? Yeah, that completely vanishes. This refusal leads directly into the next part of the journey. See, once you've turned your back on the world, the only direction left to go is inward. But this isn't some peaceful, Zen-like meditation. No, this is a retreat into what the text calls a metaphorical corner, a place of deep internal isolation where you set yourself apart from everything.
And in this isolated corner, a new philosophy starts to take root: nihilism. The wanderer starts to believe that it's not just society's goals that are meaningless, but that all goals are meaningless. The whole idea of achieving something, of winning, becomes a joke. It's the ultimate defense, right? If nothing matters, then you can't possibly fail.
But that defense, wow, it comes at a terrible price. The psychological cost of that retreat is immense. The shadows that gather in that corner aren't just ideas. They're heavy, painful realities. We're talking depression, anxiety, and this deep, gnawing self-hatred that become his constant companions.
Eventually, the pain just becomes unbearable. To survive it, to manage the terror of his own failure and the emptiness of his corner, the wanderer needs a defense. And so he starts to forge something. He builds a psychological shield.
How the shield gets built is a fascinating and pretty tragic three-step process. First, the reality of his own failure becomes just too painful to look at directly. Second, to push that pain away, the wanderer projects the blame outward. It's society's fault, it's the system's fault, it's anyone's fault but his. And third, that projection creates a new, self-soothing story: I'm not a failure, I'm a victim of an unfair world. And that's the whole point of the shield. It's not about finding the truth, it's about managing pain. It does a great job of protecting the ego from the crushing weight of personal responsibility. But in doing so, it also completely walls off any chance for real growth. And this is the trap. The victim shield gives you some temporary comfort, but it locks the wanderer into this vicious cycle. You blame, so you don't act. You don't act, so you fail more. You fail more, and that just reinforces your need for the shield. He's stuck, completely unable to move forward. But here's the thing: no defense lasts forever. Eventually, you hit a turning point. The pain of staying the same, the sheer misery of being stuck, actually starts to hurt more than the pain of taking responsibility. And that's when the shield begins to crack. What's so powerful about this idea is that the wanderer's own misery becomes the catalyst for change. That deep distress he's feeling isn't just suffering, it's a signal. It's his own mind telling him that the old defense, that victim shield, just isn't working anymore. It doesn't soothe, it suffocates. This brings him to what's called the internal battleground. See, the fight isn't against the world anymore. The fight is within himself. It's the part of him that still wants to find meaning, the hero, clashing with the part that built the shield and gave in to despair, the anti-hero.
To win this internal war, the path forward has 3 crucial steps. First, he has to actually acknowledge that the cynical, blame-projecting anti-hero is a real part of him. Second, he has to consciously confront his own habit of blaming the world for his problems. And finally, he has to make a choice to actively create his own meaning instead of passively accepting the comfort of being a victim.
And that brings us to the end of the journey, which really is a brand new beginning. It all comes down to a final, stark choice between 2 completely different ways of being in the world.
And this lays out that choice so clearly. The victim stays defined by their failure, blaming the world, living in that stagnant loop. But the hero is defined by their response to failure. They take ownership of their story. They choose to create something, and they pursue a path of real redemption. It's not about never failing. It's about what you do after you fail.
So we end with this question, which brings the whole parable right back to us. The sources suggest this entire struggle, this anti-hero within, is a part of the human condition. The lone wanderer's journey is like a map of a place we might all find ourselves in at some point. The only question left is, if and when you get there, which path will you choose?